As the apocalypse loomed, my girlfriend Victoria suddenly turned into a self-righteous saint and insisted on rushing into a horde of zombies to save her childhood friend Ethan. I was about to stop her when a row of captions suddenly appeared in front of me. The captions discussed, "Don't stop her, she's just a trashy woman. She'll hate you later. Bro, respect others' fate and let go of your savior complex. Spoiler alert, she'll have a mental breakdown later. Open the door and let zombies in to die with you." My hand froze mid-air. In the next moment, I patted Victoria on the shoulder and said, "Go ahead, I respect your choice." Victoria was stunned for a moment, as if she had already anticipated I would stop her. The loathing in her eyes hadn't yet faded. But she didn't have time to ponder why I said that because Ethan was already in imminent danger outside. The zombie horde was closing in. Without hesitation, Victoria turned and ran out. As soon as she stepped out, I locked the door behind her, worried that she might lure the zombies back. I hurriedly dragged the tables and chairs from the living room to barricade the door. Just as I exhaled in relief, the captions floated up again. "Ha ha ha ha, well done, you actually listened to us. I admire that. But you're so clueless your girlfriend's been cheating on you and you don't even know it." Cheating? My eyes widened as I looked out the window. Somehow Ethan had managed to get his hands on a gun and fired a few rounds into the zombie horde. Then he pulled Victoria into his arms with an air of tragic heroism. It hit me I had definitely been cheated on. After all, who risks their life to find someone else's girlfriend during a zombie outbreak? Victoria and I had argued over Ethan countless times. The first time was at Ethan's welcome back party. Right in front of me, Ethan drank a toast with Victoria, linking arms provocatively. He even looked me straight in the eye and said, "Sincere, don't get the wrong idea. I've always seen Victoria as a little sister. If she and I were meant to be, you wouldn't even be in the picture." Victoria, looking innocent, said, "Don't overthink it, it's just a game." Then amidst the jeers of the crowd, they drank their toast. Under my emotionless stare, Victoria hurried over to me after finishing the drink and brushed her face against my arm. She said, "Game's over, honey. Let's go home." Back then, she seemed to have a shred of decency left. I swallowed the words I wanted to lash out with and convinced myself I was overthinking. The second time was at midnight. Victoria received a phone call and immediately got up, dressed and left. But at 7 a.m. I saw Ethan's social media update. "Even in my darkest hour, I know you'll always stand by me." Both Ethan and I knew who you referred to. He posted it just to taunt me. That day, Victoria and I had a huge fight. She bit her lip and said, "Ethan and I grew up together. He's always looked out for me. Now that he's lost his job and is drowning in debt, how could I not help him?" I replied coldly, "Oh, so you had to help him all night and forgot to come home?" Victoria's gaze turned unfamiliar. She frowned and said, "Sincere, you weren't like this before." After that, we fell into a cold war. Then I found out she was helping Ethan move, job hunt, and even supporting him financially to help him get back on his feet. Ethan, meanwhile, wasn't looking for work at all. He shamelessly lived off Victoria, numbing himself with alcohol every day. When drunk, he'd call her to pick him up, and then he'd put on a righteous act on the phone saying, "Victoria, isn't it inappropriate for you to see me every day? It might make Sincere misunderstand." And Victoria? She'd just look at me and say coldly, "The innocent stay innocent. Innocent my ass." I couldn't tolerate it anymore. I broke up with her on the spot and kicked her out. But she came back crying, begging for reconciliation, saying she truly realized her mistakes. That was when the reports of unknown patients attacking people first emerged. Zombies had apparently existed for a while, but no one believed it. We were unfortunately trapped in this place. To survive, we hurriedly stockpiled supplies before the zombie outbreak went global. I never expected Victoria to tell Ethan our location, nor did I expect Ethan to come looking for her despite the dire circumstances. But you know what? It's perfect. I don't have enough supplies anyway. One less person means one less mouth to feed. Let's see how these two plan to survive here. Perhaps noticing my gaze, Victoria looked upstairs. Captions immediately floated up again. "Damn, these two scumbags better die soon. Their storyline is disgusting." Someone replied, "Upstairs, the heroine won't die that easily." Another comment said, "What the hell? Are they going to come upstairs and beg the hero to take them in? If the hero ends up forgiving them, I'll lose it." Someone else responded, "No way. Didn't Sincere barricade the door?" I roughly pieced together the situation. I seemed to be who they call the hero, and Victoria is the heroine. If that's the case, Victoria must have some kind of protagonist halo. There was no way I'd die so easily. I glanced around the room. I had tried my best to stock up on supplies, but I wasn't some kind of prophet who could foresee the apocalypse and prepare all the essentials beforehand. If I rationed everything carefully, I estimated that the food and supplies I had might last me 3 months at most. But the immediate problem was that Ethan had a gun. If he and Victoria forced their way in, not only would my supplies be insufficient, but I might lose my life as well. I needed a plan. Before I knew it, they had already managed to escape their predicament. Ethan had turned on his phone, blasted music at full volume, and thrown it away. The piercing melody cut through the night air, instantly drawing the zombies' attention. After all, it was still early in the apocalypse, so there weren't that many zombies yet, and they weren't very smart. That gave Ethan and Victoria a chance to slip away. Meanwhile, I was on high alert. If they headed toward my building, it would be trouble. They had a gun, and I didn't know how many bullets they had left. The online chat feed was going wild, almost making it hard for me to focus on the messages. "They actually escaped," someone commented. "This is bad. They're heading toward Sincere's building," another chimed in. "They have a gun," someone else added. "Knowing Ethan and his vicious mindset, Sincere is in danger," another person speculated. "Relax, man," one commenter reassured. "There's a door in the way. Even if they shoot, they can't get in. Plus, the noise might attract zombies." "Good point. As long as Sincere doesn't open the door, he'll be fine," someone agreed. But then, another comment hit me like a bucket of cold water. "You're celebrating too early. They're climbing the window." My mind went blank. Ethan and Victoria must have realized I wouldn't open the door for them, so they chose the second option. I hadn't had much time to prepare my place for the apocalypse, so the windows weren't reinforced with soundproof or bulletproof materials, just regular locks. If they shot at the window, they could climb right in. As I processed this, I heard the sound of knocking. I turned toward the window. There they were, their faces pressed against the glass, precariously balancing on the narrow ledge outside. In a split second, a plan formed in my mind. They thought I wouldn't open the window? Well, I'd open it, but on my terms. Pretending to panic, I called out to them, "Hold on, I'll open the window right away. Just hang in there." Sure enough, I saw the chat feed explode. "What? Sincere, have you lost your mind?" "Dude, what are you doing? Are you trying to get yourself killed? Unbelievable, I can't believe you'd stoop this low for them." Hearing my words, Ethan and Victoria visibly relaxed. I even saw Ethan quietly lower his gun. That was my chance. I rushed to the window, unlocked it, and opened it just a crack. In that split second, I grabbed the fire extinguisher I had nearby and blasted it right at them. "Die, you scumbags, take your creepy brotherly nonsense and get lost," I shouted, laughing hysterically. "You thought I'd save you two lunatics? Dream on, go to hell," they screamed as they lost their footing and fell. I quickly locked the window again. Unfortunately, since my apartment was only on the second floor and there was a lawn and some shrubs below to cushion their fall, they didn't die. A pity. But the noise had drawn the attention of some nearby zombies who began shambling toward them. I watched as Ethan, gritting his teeth in pain, grabbed Victoria and dragged her toward the neighboring building. Letting out a breath, I set down the fire extinguisher and patted my chest to calm myself. The chat feed lit up again. "Wow, well played. So that's how it's gonna be, huh? Fine. Game on, Sincere. I was ready to slice you with a sword, but you turned out to be smarter than I thought." Wait, who even keeps a fire extinguisher at home? Well, that would be me. After almost blowing up my kitchen while cooking once, I decided it was a good idea to have one around. Turns out it came in handy after all. If I had confronted them head-on, I would have been at a disadvantage. Ethan had been holding his gun the whole time, but his finger wasn't on the trigger. That made me suspect they had a plan. If I refused to help, he'd use the gun. If I agreed, he'd put it away. So I pretended to help, lulling them into a false sense of security. But now they'd probably want me dead more than ever. Sure enough, my phone started ringing. It was Victoria. I couldn't believe she was calling me after all this. What could she possibly want now? I was about to hang up when I glanced at the chat feed again. Answer it, know your enemy to win the battle. Yeah, give them a taste of their own medicine. Sincere. I love seeing them try to kill you but fail miserably. Seriously, how were these people so shameless? But I answered the call anyway. On the other end, Victoria's panicked, trembling voice came through, filled with sobs. Sincere. I never expected you to be this kind of person, watching someone die without lifting a finger. I raised an eyebrow and said, Victoria, what's wrong? You sound so weak. Are you dying or something? Before Victoria could reply, Ethan's voice came through instead. Victoria, I honestly didn't know Sincere hated me this much, to the point of wanting to kill me. Honestly, I don't think I've ever wronged him. He paused for a moment before continuing, but I get it. He's the kind of person who can't stand his girlfriend having male friends. His controlling nature knows no bounds. To take revenge, he'd cross every moral line, even joking about 2 lives. Victoria, is this really the person you want to get back together with? Look, I'm straightforward, so don't take it the wrong way. But I can't stand small-minded people like him. When it really matters, he's selfish, petty, and abandons his girlfriend without a second thought. No vision, no backbone? Ethan, you're delusional, I said, smirking. Ethan, I know you're blunt, but do you have to let every thought spill out of your mouth? How about learning some tact? Of all the weapons you could master, you had to pick the sword. But not just any sword, drunken sword techniques of all things. And you're aware she's someone else's girlfriend, yet you keep hanging around her, acting ambiguous. Do you need a slap or a beating? A loser like you has no right to talk about responsibility. If you're so responsible, why are you unemployed, drowning in payday loans, and living off someone else's girlfriend? Victoria cut me off, attempting to calm the situation. Sincere, I only see Ethan as a friend. He's just being honest, and you're already flipping out. Is this who you are now? I snapped back through the screen. Victoria, are you trying to say your so-called pure friendship is something I twisted in my mind? Let me ask you, what kind of decent woman, while having a boyfriend, goes off drinking from the same cup with another guy? What kind of respectable girl spends the night at a male friend's place? If you posted this behavior online, you'd be trending for all the wrong reasons. Oh, I get it. He's into drunken sword play, and you're into silver sword play. A match made in heaven. Victoria stopped crying, and her voice rose a few notches. I told you he's a childhood friend. We've always been like this. Do you have to be so cruel? Poor thing. The world's about to end, and she's still this clueless. I chuckled coldly. You two being trash is one thing, but being brainless too? You just pointed a gun at me to kill me a moment ago, and now you're calling me cruel for protecting myself? Are you kidding me? You must have been raised by wolves to speak like this. You're a walking double standard. Your parents must be so proud. You, she stammered, but I didn't wait for her to finish. I hung up the phone. The chat notifications above my head went silent for a few seconds before exploding with comments. OMG, so cool. Sin, I love heroes with sharp tongues, one person wrote. Sin's roasting skills are top tier, another chimed in. But seriously, now that Sin has burned bridges with them entirely, I feel like staying here might not be safe anymore. Yeah, same here. It's the apocalypse after all. Who knows what's coming next? But hey, I've read zombie novels before. In the best case, it might take a few years to clear them out. Worst case, it could take even longer. And I'm not a time traveler or anything. I didn't stock up on supplies before the outbreak. Even if Victoria and Ethan don't try to steal my stuff, I can barely last 3 months on what I've got. Long-term survival is the real challenge. I sighed and decided to eat something before figuring out my next move. Too bad I can't cook, so most of my stash is instant food. I made a bowl of instant noodles, added fish balls, sausages, eggs, and some greens. Just as I was enjoying my meal, Victoria texted me. She wrote, "We're out of food. Could you spare us some for old time's sake, sincere? The supplies you've hoarded include my share too." She has to be schizophrenic or something. She was just cursing me earlier, and now she wants food from me? The audacity. Zombies are roaming outside, and yet she still insists on dragging me into her mess. Not my problem. I snapped a photo of my steaming bowl of noodles and sent it back with a reply. "But I don't have much either," I wrote. "Ethan risked everything to come find you. I assumed he had a plan." Victoria replied, "Sincere, do you have to talk like that?" I shot back, "Wow, so it's true? He really came unarmed, ready to die for love? I envy your legendary friendship." The chat comments popped up again. "Lol, I'm dying, so sarcastic. Victoria totally brought this on herself, she deserves it. Don't give her anything, Sincere. You can't trust people like her." Of course, I wasn't going to help them. By now I was pretty sure I was stuck in a novel. In the original plot, I had supposedly stopped Victoria from rescuing Ethan. At the time, she didn't say much, pretending to wait with me for rescue during the apocalypse while secretly resenting me. Eventually she realized she loved Ethan all along and blamed me for not letting her save him. Driven by despair and hatred, she opened the door and let the zombies in. In the story, her final act was to glare at me venomously and say, "Sincere, do you know how Ethan died? Now you'll get to experience the despair of being torn apart by zombies." Yep, that's how it went. So now, I needed to eliminate any threats to my safety before they could grow. Worried they might try sneaking in through the windows at night, I finished eating and quickly tied up some quilts and blankets to block the windows. With that, even if they tried shooting through the glass, I'd have enough time to react. Luckily, I also rented an apartment on the top floor for emergencies. I hadn't reached the end of my lease yet. When this house was under renovation, I stayed here to supervise the work. The day Victoria came looking for me, I had just moved downstairs. To monitor the renovation, I had installed surveillance cameras in the living room, though I never mentioned this to Victoria. While she helped me gather supplies, I kept some precautions to myself. After all, a woman who has a change of heart can't always be trusted. The only downside was that the supplies upstairs weren't as abundant as the ones I had stocked in this house. The upside, though, was that I was the only resident on the top floor. Being a freelancer who often worked from home, I still had a decent stockpile of food. The bigger question was, how would I move my supplies back upstairs? How much could I carry? And would I risk drawing the attention of the zombies? While I was mulling over these questions, the building's community chat suddenly became active. Someone asked, "Hey neighbors, does anyone have any extra supplies to spare?" My place was just renovated, and I didn't have time to stock up before all this happened. I know it's a big ask, but I'm willing to pay for the supplies. You can leave them in a designated spot and I'll use a drone to retrieve them. The chat went silent for a long time, probably because everyone was cautious. After all, in an apocalypse, trust is a rare commodity. But then an idea struck me. I replied, "There are zombies outside. I'm sure a lot of people are willing to share supplies, but opening doors might attract them." Almost immediately, someone echoed, "Exactly, it's not that we don't want to help, it's just so risky," another person chimed in. "I have a question. Do zombies have intelligence? Could they break into the building? Could they figure out how to open doors?" Soon, someone who seemed to have done their homework replied, "Based on what I've seen in foreign shows, early-stage zombies rely on sound and smell to locate targets. They don't seem to have intelligence yet. Plus, there aren't that many zombies in our neighborhood. The building's entry doors have passcodes, so they can't get in, and they definitely can't climb windows. Here's my suggestion. We should work together. I bet most of us only have enough supplies for a few months. If we cooperate, we might survive longer." I replied 1. Others quickly followed with 2, 3, and so on. Roughly a few dozen people responded, though it was clear that some were lying low and staying silent, which was understandable. No one dared to share their apartment number, though. Eventually, the group agreed. Those willing to share supplies would leave them on the top floor at a designated time. Those in need could pick them up afterward. For me, this was the perfect opportunity, not because I trusted anyone, but because it gave me an excuse to get to the top floor. The zombie outbreak was still new, and the elevators were still operational. I guessed most people wouldn't dare use them, afraid of revealing their floor. But I was willing to take the risk. I quickly packed 2 large suitcases with supplies and filled my backpack to the brim. Quietly, I opened my door. On my floor, I was the only one who had finished renovations, so I wasn't too worried. My main concern was running into someone from another floor. If that happened, I'd just say I was going to drop off supplies. In the early days of the apocalypse, even if people's darker instincts were starting to surface, they wouldn't show their true colors right away. When I reached the elevator, as expected, no one was using it, too scared of giving away their location. But I was determined. I relied on the group chat's messages to time my movements. It was almost like I had a cheat code. For example, comments in the chat said things like, "Quick, hide, someone's walking up to the top floor." "Sin, you've got 10 seconds to dash back to your room." Go, "Wait a second, someone's about to come out." Press a few extra floors on the elevator to throw them off. Even tips like, "Don't forget to grab rice, you can make porridge later, just add water." The tension was so high my heart felt like it would leap out of my chest. I made about 10 trips back and forth, moving supplies. Honestly, I didn't have much, just enough to last 3 months, which was already lucky considering how chaotic things had been. By the time I finished, I was completely exhausted. I was about to take a break before moving my last box of instant noodles when I heard a gunshot. Then the sound of glass shattering. My brain froze. I knew it. Victoria and Ethan had come for me. Within seconds, they'd tear through the barricade and break into the apartment. I didn't have time to think. I dropped everything and bolted for the door. As I opened it, I heard a loud thud, someone landing on the ground. Damn it, how were they this fast? I slammed the door shut just as another gunshot rang out, hitting the door. They were trying to kill me. I sprinted toward the stairwell, my heart pounding. Behind me, I could hear footsteps closing in. If they caught me, I was done for. Then the chat lit up again. OMG, that shot was fired by Victoria. It almost hit Sincere. Victoria is so ruthless. She actually wants to kill Sincere. Run, Sin, run, don't look back. My heart can't take this, I'm so scared right now. Same here. I didn't dare waste a single second. Despite being out of shape, I ran up 25 flights of stairs without stopping. Once I reached safety, I quietly locked the door behind me and collapsed onto the couch, gasping for air. Just as I thought I could finally catch my breath, the doorbell rang. I held my breath, barely daring to make a sound. There was no way they would track me down, right? After all, when they started chasing me, I had already sprinted several floors away. Their goal wasn't to kill me, they were after supplies. Besides, Victoria and Ethan had just climbed into my second-floor apartment to avoid the zombies. They wouldn't risk exposing themselves again. I took off my shoes and carefully tiptoed to the door. Peeking through the peephole, I saw a girl standing outside. Unsure of her intentions, I didn't open the door. She seemed to notice the lack of response and left something at the door before walking away. I waited and waited until everything outside fell silent, then cautiously opened the door. Picking up the note she had left, I read, "I live on the 24th floor. I heard noise and brought you some supplies. It's dangerous out there. We should stick together. Stay strong." Relieved, I hesitated to take the supplies, worried it might be a trap. But then I realized I'd already made so much noise moving things around earlier that pretending no one was home wouldn't be convincing. So, I accepted the eggs and noodles she left, carefully organizing them into my stash. Afterward, I turned on my phone to check the surveillance cameras. Victoria and Ethan were sitting in the living room, eating instant noodles. It seemed like they had enough to last a week. But what about after that week? I opened the building's online group chat. People were already discussing the situation. Someone asked, "Did anyone hear gunshots?" Another replied, "Yes, several times today. Are they targeting people for supplies?" Yet another chimed in, "This morning I saw a man and a woman with guns from my window. They climbed to the second floor, fell, and then ran off. Folks on lower floors, be cautious." I thought about it and decided to tell everyone the truth. I typed, "I need to be honest. I'm the one who got targeted on the second floor. The man and woman are my ex-girlfriend and her childhood friend. They shot at me, trying to kill me, so I fled to another location. I'm relatively safe now, but I have limited supplies. I fear they'll finish what they have and come for more armed. Please be careful, everyone. I'm sorry for bringing this danger to you. To my surprise, the group didn't blame me. Instead, neighbors comforted me. One person said, "It's not your fault." I've never seen such shameless people. Calling him a childhood friend or bestie is just sugarcoating it. He's obviously more than that. She's playing innocent, disgusting. Another commented, "They have guns. We need to stick together and stay alert." The group chat became a space of solidarity. Later that day, a few nearby neighbors took action, bringing heavy-duty tools to barricade the door to my second-floor apartment. Their goal was to trap Victoria and Ethan inside, forcing them to climb out through the window if they wanted to escape. Floors 3 to 5 were abandoned, and higher floors had window bars installed. Even if they shot through the glass, they couldn't get in. Someone also locked the main entrance to the building, ensuring that, for the time being, everyone inside was safe. Feeling a bit more secure, I prepared to sleep when Victoria sent me a message. Damn, I forgot to block her. I stared at the screen, reading her words, "Sincere, do you really want me dead that badly? And do you honestly think you can outrun me?" A chill ran down my spine. Could she see the chat comments too? My heart raced. I forced myself to stay calm. Even if she could see them, there was no mention of my exact location on the 25th floor. At most, she'd know I was somewhere in this building. I didn't reply, but another message popped up. "I was wrong about you. You're heartless, cruel, and you abandoned me to die. You'll regret your choices." I almost laughed at the absurdity. The chat exploded with anger. One person wrote, "What kind of twisted logic is this? The hero let you stay and you tried to kill him. He keeps you locked in, and now you want to feed him to zombies? No matter what happens, it's never your fault, huh? You're the ultimate drama queen." Another commented, "I want to storm in and take them out. The hero's situation is beyond tragic." Someone else added, "I'm genuinely worried for Sin's safety. Imagine surviving zombies and starvation only to die at the hands of these two scumbags. That would be infuriating." The next day I replied to Victoria, "I left supplies for you. Be grateful." After a moment's pause I added, "By the way, you're so quick to insult me, but think about it, if you were surrounded by zombies, do you think Ethan would save you?" She shot back, "Eddie's nothing like you, cold-blooded and heartless." I couldn't help but laugh. "Let's wait and see," I typed. Honestly, I was relieved I had left them some food. With supplies to last a few days, they might stay put for now. But if desperation set in, they could become even more dangerous. Watching the surveillance, I saw them eating well and then planning their next move, how to rob more supplies and force me out. They even discussed shooting me point blank. Then, as they talked, their faces drifted closer until, well, let's just say things escalated into something I'd rather not describe. My eyes felt violated. Surprisingly, I wasn't angry. I had already expected as much. There was no way their relationship was purely platonic. But the chat was furious. People hurled censored curses and insults at the screen, unable to contain their rage. I could barely see clearly. Before I could brace for their revenge, a few jeeps arrived. The people inside were armed with serious firepower and swiftly wiped out dozens of zombies in the neighborhood. Then they set up camp right in the area. In the neighborhood group chat, a lot of people started speculating about who these people might be. Were they from the military? I didn't think so. They seemed more like a team specifically out to raid supplies. After all, not everyone had reacted quickly enough to stock up on essentials, and with zombies still around, survival was the #1 priority. At times like this, you'd expect bold, well-equipped people to scavenge wherever they could. I peeked cautiously from behind the curtains, wondering what to do, when I saw Victoria and Ethan jump down from their window and approach those people. The chat lit up with messages, blind guess Ethan surrendering with Victoria in tow. Another comment read, "Ethan probably got his gun from this group, right? These guys don't look like the good kind. What are we going to do? Are they going to raid every floor?" Someone else chimed in. Unbelievable. One crisis isn't even over, and here comes another. Another message followed. Them going down? I bet they're targeting Sincere for sure. And sure enough, the guess was right. I heard someone below shouting through a megaphone. Who's Sincere? Heard you've stashed a lot of supplies. We're all starving here. How about sharing some with us? The shouting continued relentlessly. I forced myself to stay calm. There had to be a way out of this. Opening my phone, I saw a message in the group chat. Sincere. Isn't he the guy whose girlfriend cheated on him? Be careful. Don't let them figure out it's you. Someone replied, these guys seem like the type who'd stop at nothing. This neighborhood's in serious danger. They've got weapons, and if they break into our homes, we might lose more than just supplies. We can't just sit here and do nothing. To my surprise, no one blamed me or tried to guilt-trip me into sacrificing myself for everyone else. Their understanding brought a small wave of gratitude in me. My brain churned as I tried to think of a solution. Suddenly, an idea struck me. I typed into the chat, they only cleared the zombies in this neighborhood. I remember someone in the group mentioned having a drone, and another person said zombies are drawn by sound and smell. I have a suggestion. Can we use the drone to lure zombies from elsewhere toward these people? Someone immediately responded, I'm in. These guys down there are way more dangerous than the zombies. Another person agreed. Exactly. As long as we don't go out, the zombies aren't an immediate threat. But these guys, they're armed and camping here. Even if Sincere gives them supplies, they won't spare the rest of us. The group quickly rallied. Supplies were pooled, and the neighbor with the drone stepped forward to help. I heard we need something bloody to attract them, a shy girl from the 24th floor offered. I happened to have some. She had brought me supplies before, and I felt deeply grateful for her kindness. 2 drones were deployed. Meanwhile, as the drones flew out, I heard gunshots below, bang, bang, bang. Not coming out, huh? One of the men shouted. Don't blame us for raiding floor by floor then. Ground floor residents, don't hold it against us. It's Sincere who's making you die first. Desperate to buy time, I quickly called Victoria's phone. I'll give up my supplies, but I have one request, I said. What request? Someone asked on the other end. They must have thought we were easy pickings and took the call just to hear me beg. To them, my struggle would probably be entertaining. My voice trembling, I pleaded, please don't kill me. Then Ethan grabbed the phone. He sneered, don't kill you? Sincere, that wasn't what you wanted from me, was it? He'd finally found a chance to mock me and wasn't going to let it go. I stayed silent, scrolling through the group chat as I listened to him rant. Some people are selfish and small-minded, willing to jeopardize others over petty personal grudges. But when danger comes, they're nothing but cowards, sniveling and spineless. Isn't that right, Victoria? I told you he wasn't worth trusting. Look at me, I came all this way to find you, to save you. Killed zombies, climbed windows, jumped down and protected you. But you let someone like him fool you. Victoria took over the conversation. Sincere apologized to Ethan sincerely, and to me. Hand over all your supplies and I'll try to convince them to spare you. But honestly, you've gone too far. After this, you're on your own. Apologize? I barked into the phone. Victoria, did you fry your brain in cooking oil? Do you really think I'm going to kneel and thank you after hearing this nonsense? How could someone as kind and lovely as you be so delusional? I almost didn't recognize you. I thought you were one of those perfect little lily pads in a pond, so good at pretending. Turning my attention to Ethan, I snapped, and you, Ethan, always got something to say, don't you? If you've got so much free time, why not volunteer to clean public restrooms? Licking every toilet clean to contribute to society, well, that was the sort of venom I could practically hear in their gritted teeth. Sincere, go to hell, they spat at me. I chuckled in reply. Hey, do you believe me when I say that even if you die, I won't? Because, you see, I've been watching the neighborhood chat group. One of the residents shared drone footage, and sure enough, a couple of streets away, there are still plenty of zombies shambling around. The drone quickly flew right into their midst, leading them straight toward us. They want to kill me? Well, let's see if they can even escape the zombie horde themselves first. The line on the other end fizzled with static before going dead. What followed was the relentless sound of gunfire. I peeled back a corner of the curtain to quietly observe. Weapons were now as scarce as supplies, but the zombies were even more plentiful than before. Those people with the jeeps made a snap decision to cut and run. They fired shots to cover themselves as they scrambled to their vehicles. There was only one seat left. Ethan scrambled into it, his voice reverberating even at this height, filled with anguish. "Victoria, I know you wouldn't want me to die. Trust me, I'll come back for you." And with that, he kicked Victoria out of the vehicle, and the jeep sped off, leaving her alone amidst the undead. Oh, how I laughed. "Victoria, looks like it's your turn now, huh?" I had asked her once during one of her moral dilemmas whether Ethan would ever choose to save her. Her response was adamant. "Ethan is nothing like someone as cold-hearted as you." Well, look at that, he abandoned her without a second thought. The live chat was going wild. Comments flooded in, "Ha ha ha, this is so satisfying to watch. Victoria totally had it coming. Wow, karma sure works fast. Can we set off some fireworks to celebrate? I've never been this excited." Someone even lamented, "Too bad that scumbag Ethan got away." To which another replied, "Don't worry. People like him don't usually last long in raider groups anyway." Victoria, now utterly alone and defenseless, didn't even have a weapon left by Ethan. She ran and ran, almost getting caught by the zombies. But adrenaline does funny things to people in life-or-death situations. With a desperate leap, she managed to grab onto an air conditioning unit and claw her way up to the second floor. From there, she crawled through a shattered window right into my house. The heroine sure has a knack for staying alive. That much is clear. But what's also clear is that with the raiders gone, the immediate threat to the neighborhood has been lifted. In the group chat, the homeowners were celebrating. "What a spectacular counterattack," someone cheered. "Absolutely, watching from my window was better than any 3D movie," another added. But then came the inevitable question. So Sincere's girlfriend didn't die. What do we do about that? Do we want her to? It was a moral dilemma for many. After all, it was my grudge against her, and the neighbors were all good people. Leaving her to die seemed a bit too cruel. As I pondered, Victoria suddenly called me. The sheer audacity. How did she even manage to hold onto her phone in all that chaos? I figured I might as well hear what she had to say. Watching the surveillance feed, I saw her collapse onto the living room floor, gasping for air. Her voice came through, choked and unsteady. "Sincere, I'm sorry." I smirked. Well, is the sun rising in the west today? Weren't you just demanding an apology from me earlier? Now you're apologizing to me. What kind of show are you putting on? She hesitated before continuing. "I misjudged people. I was wrong about Ethan." I let out a cold laugh. One moment you're saying I'm heartless and untrustworthy. The next moment you're saying you were wrong about Ethan. If your judgment is so poor, maybe you should get that checked out. Why are you telling me all this? Ignoring my sarcasm, she murmured, "I should have listened to you. If I had known, I wouldn't have gone to save him. You know, when he was in danger, I risked everything to rush out for him. But when the zombies came, he pushed me straight into them. How do you explain that?" I sighed. "What's there to explain? That's love for you." She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. "Sincere, we grew up together, and he still treated me like this. Here we go again, first blaming me, then blaming him, never once reflecting on her own fickleness. If after breaking up with me, she had stuck with her decision and moved on, maybe I would have had a shred of respect for her. But no, she couldn't let go of me while diving headfirst into her affair with Ethan. What a masterpiece of emotional chaos," she cried. "Sincere, I'm sorry, can we start over? I promise I'll listen to you from now on. Please, I miss you so much." "Sincere, forgive me," I rolled my eyes. What a charming little mess she was. Whoever wanted her could have her. I wasn't running a garbage collection service. I almost laughed out loud from sheer disbelief. "Where do you get the nerve to think we could ever start over?" I asked her. "Do I look like I'm missing you in my life?" She began wailing, her voice raw and desperate. "Sincere, you wanted me to die so badly. Back when I said I was going out to find him, you didn't stop me on purpose, did you?" That lit a fire in me. I gritted my teeth and snapped, "Listen to yourself. Do you even hear what you're saying? Did your brain get cut off along with your umbilical cord? If I had stopped you, you'd hate me for not letting you go. If I didn't stop you, you'd call me heartless. So no matter what I did, you'd find a way to twist it around. Is that it?" She seemed completely incapable of comprehending human speech and kept spouting nonsense. She whimpered, "Sincere, it's all my fault anyway. But I want you to know that the person I've always loved is you. I feel like I can't hold on much longer." I didn't even have the energy to argue anymore, but the comments flying across the screen were scolding her much harder than I ever could. Someone commented, "Can't hold on? Just die already." Another chimed in, "When she was sleeping with someone else, she didn't mention loving Sincere, did she? Disgusting doesn't even begin to describe this." Yet another exclaimed, "I'm gonna throw up. Absolutely unbelievable. Even Tofu has a brain, she doesn't." I actually laughed at that one. Ethan and she had apparently planned how to shoot Sincere dead, but during those scheming moments, she didn't mention love either. A furious voice on the thread roared, "Is she dying or not? If not, I'm sending the author a knife myself. I'm definitely not saving her." The room still had leftover instant noodles, enough to keep her alive for a few days. "Let her fend for herself," someone suggested. These words were ironically the same ones she once told me when apologizing on behalf of others, and now they had come full circle to apply to her. After an exhausting day, I collapsed into bed and slept deeply. The next morning, I woke up to find yet another message from Victoria. "See you in the next life, Sincere." My brows furrowed, and I stared at my phone with the expression of a tired subway commuter scrolling through their feed. The disgust was so overwhelming that I nearly lost my appetite for breakfast. I opened my home surveillance app to check on her status, only to discover that Victoria had turned into a zombie. Evidently, the comments had caught on too. The thread lit up with chatter, "Ha ha, serves her right, instant karma is so satisfying. Author, you really get us, we said let her die, and boom, she's dead. Feels amazing." Another person added, "But why does she have to turn into a zombie and keep causing trouble? Would it have killed her to just starve to death?" So yesterday, when she said she couldn't hold on, this is what she meant. But I couldn't bring myself to feel happy, not when she was shambling around my living room. I quickly posted about the situation in our neighborhood group chat. The drone operator came to the rescue once again, and this time, someone tearfully donated duck blood meant for hot pot. Using it as bait, we managed to lure the zombie Victoria out through the window. I watched her stumble around outside, now no more than a lifeless husk, and sighed deeply as I shut the window behind her. Thankfully, the government hadn't completely given up on us. Though power outages, water shortages, and internet blackouts had become the norm, they occasionally sent supply drops. At first, it was seeds for fruits and vegetables, followed by some basic necessities. Some residents, bored out of their minds, even started rooftop gardens, cultivating new crop varieties. In our building, the homeowners banded together, sharing resources and helping one another. Somehow we managed to endure 3 long years, surviving the zombie outbreak until we finally heard the thrilling announcement: the apocalypse was officially over. That day, I asked for help clearing the obstacles from my apartment door on the 2nd floor. Dust swirled through the air as I opened it. Inside, I found Victoria's phone. After charging it fully, I saw the grim fate of Ethan. Following his departure, he joined a group of raiders, plundering and pillaging to amass supplies. But one day an injury cost him a leg, leaving him crippled and unable to walk. His final message was a plea for Victoria to save him, but by then she had already become a zombie. Perhaps he even tried to shoot her. After that, his messages stopped altogether. In the chaos of a post-apocalyptic world, human nature often reveals its darkest sides. In those raider groups, people like Ethan, who were no longer useful, weren't kept around for long. His fate, as resources dwindled further, became painfully predictable. Together, my neighbors and I endured until the warmth of spring returned. As for Ethan and Victoria, they had chosen destruction and ultimately reaped what they sowed. Their downfall was their own doing, a fitting punishment for their actions. On the grassy field of our neighborhood, everyone sang joyfully, celebrating the arrival of yet another spring.